Look, the devastation by Hurricane Melissa across the Caribbean is pretty severe. Lives have been lost, homes and critical infrastructure has been destroyed. Families are struggling to access basic necessities like food, water, and shelter. Canada stands with the people of the Caribbean in its efforts at this moment, not with words, but with action. As of this morning, we are not aware of any Canadians who are missing or deceased. The Global Affairs Canada consular teams are monitoring 24-hour emergency response lines and are ready to help Canadians. Today, our government is providing $7 million in humanitarian assistance to support emergency relief efforts across the region. $5 million will go directly to humanitarian partners, delivering life-saving support, food, clean water, sanitation, health services, and protection for those that are displaced. And $2 million will go to support the World Food Programme's Caribbean Logistics Hub, which is rapidly distributing food and relief supplies to Jamaica and other affected islands. So Canada has also offered relief items from our emergency stockpiles that are now held with the Red Cross movement, ensuring we can move quickly if further aid is requested. This support builds on years of partnership between Canada and the Caribbean. So our message is clear. Canada is here. We're standing with the Caribbean today, and we'll be here tomorrow to help rebuild stronger, safer, and more resilient communities. Mr. Anand.
Merci, Randeep. La destruction causée par l'ouragan Melissa dans la Caraïbe est très, très grave. Nous sommes ici pour une annonce là-dessus. Des vies ont été perdues, des maisons et des infrastructures essentielles ont été détruites. Des familles ont de la difficulté à avoir accès à la nourriture, à l'eau potable et un abri. Le Canada est aux côtés du peuple des Caraïbes en ce moment difficile, pas seulement avec des mots, mais avec des actions concrètes. À ce matin, nous ne sommes pas au courant de Canadiens disparus ou décédés. Les équipes consulaires d'affaires mondiales du Canada surveillent la ligne d'urgence 24 heures sur 24 et sont prêtes à aider les Canadiens. Aujourd'hui, comme le ministre Sarai a dit, notre gouvernement fournit 7 millions de dollars en aide humanitaire pour soutenir les efforts d'urgence dans la région. 5 millions de dollars iront directement à nos partenaires humanitaires qui offrent une aide vitale, nourriture, eau potable, services de santé, hygiène et protection pour les personnes déplacées. 2 millions de dollars soutiendront le centre logistique régional du Programme alimentaire mondial qui distribue rapidement de la nourriture et des articles de secours en Jamaïque et dans d'autres îles touchées. Le Canada a aussi offert des articles de secours provenant de ses réserves d'urgence par l'intermédiaire du mouvement de la Croix-Rouge pour pouvoir répondre rapidement si d'autres demandes d'aide sont faites. Cette aide s'appuie sur plusieurs années de partenariat entre le Canada et les pays des Caraïbes. Notre message est clair. Le Canada est présent. Nous sommes présents pour les gens là et aussi pour la stabilité de la région en total. Nous sommes aux côtés des Caraïbes aujourd'hui et nous serons là demain pour aider à reconstruire des communautés plus fortes, plus sûres et plus résilientes. Merci beaucoup.
I'll just ask this question because I asked it of Mr. Sarai yesterday. I understand Mr. McGuinty is in Korea, but is there any movement by Canadian forces, the disaster assistance response team, cargo planes out of Trenton, any sort of external assets or Canadian forces soldiers who are training with the Jamaican Defence Force that may come into play at this point, or is the Red Cross donation and then having nations help themselves the way to move forward at this point?
At this moment, the request from Jamaica has been for humanitarian aid. That is what we are stepping up to provide. There has been no request for the Canadian Armed Forces at this time. We, of course, are standing ready 24/7 to assist in ways that are requested, and indeed this humanitarian effort of $7 million in total, broken down into 5 and 2 million blocks, are very, very important for the humanitarian effort that Canada is putting forward. We will continue to monitor the situation and, of course, the requests coming forward. And as I said, we're working as a team here to make sure that we're doing whatever is necessary.
Just a two-parter. Is that $7 million in funds? Is that new funds for in humanitarian aid? And also, just taking it by your answer there, are you guys deploying any SRDT members to any areas affected, and if so, which ones?
So, thank you. Yes, it is new funds. This is in addition to the $8 million that is through joint pooled funds, whether it's through SURF or through the Red Cross in the region that I spoke about yesterday as well. So those $4 million and $4 million and part of the joint contributions are out there. And any other efforts that they require are whether it's Canadian Armed Forces or other aid agencies in Canada, they're all on standby to act as necessary.
So far, no SRDT members have been deployed?
Not that I know of, yes. Thanks.
I have a two-part question. The first is just about the $5 million. If you can tell us which countries and which groups would be receiving that, or if that's still being sorted out at the moment?
That's being sorted out at the moment. Global Affairs Canada is sorting out who can best fit each of those requirements.
And maybe I'll just add something to that. Our approach is to ensure that when we distribute funding, it is being distributed to organizations that will ensure the useful and the sure provision of food and other humanitarian aid as rapidly as possible, but also in a way that is reliable. And so we are actually doing that work right now to ensure that the organizations that will be doing the distribution are going to be doing just that.
I just wanted to ask a bit about Sudan. We know that this is a priority area of the Gulf for you. We know the Prime Minister is talking about going to the UAE. We've got some serious concerns about Canadian arms ending up in Sudan through the UAE. Is that something that we've raised with the Emirates, or is this not something the government says is an actual credible concern right now?
Well, I'm glad that you brought up the humanitarian crisis in Sudan, because it is of grave concern to the Government of Canada, and it is for that reason that we have put forward millions of dollars in humanitarian aid, including over $20 million this year alone. In terms of our arms export control process, you know that that process is run under legislation that is world-renowned, the Arms Import and Export Permit Act. And I will say that any violation of that statute is closely monitored and enforced. We take it extremely seriously, and that is the work that I've asked my department to do.
Can I ask you about the forces apology? Why did it take until today to apologize for racism and discrimination in the forces? I'm asking you as the minister who spearheaded a lot of this.
So I appreciate the question, and certainly any chance I have to thank the Canadian Armed Forces for their incredible work is an opportunity that I value immensely. It was an honor to be the Minister of National Defence and to spearhead a number of the reforms relating to non-discrimination and to actively work against some of the issues that had caused grave concern and hardship and emotional trauma for so many people in the armed forces. The Canadian government has taken a number of steps over the last years to ensure that apologies have been provided. including the apology that I participated in December 2021 in terms of victims of sexual misconduct and sexual harassment. In terms of the apology that you mentioned in your question, let it be clear that we have been working actively to ensure that there is no racial discrimination or discrimination of any sort in the Canadian Armed Forces. It was one of the reasons why the apology to the No. 2 Construction Battalion in July of 2022 occurred. We stand against any form of racial or other discrimination, and the apology that you mentioned is one aspect of the response, but in no uncertain term is it the only aspect of the work we're going to do to ensure that the Canadian Armed Forces are free from discrimination of all sorts.
Just a quick clarification. What is the department checking on?
Well, obviously getting rid of the tariffs on canola and on peas, but as we see now, India now has a 30% tariff on yellow peas. Canadian farmers are very tired of being left behind. They want to see the Prime Minister get relief on those tariffs.
What are you hearing from folks in your riding?
Just a lot of frustration. A lot of frustration. They were hoping when Mark Carney said he'd be different, be a new Prime Minister, that he'd actually be different than Justin Trudeau. So far, he's proving to be worse.
Do you think there's a way Canada can get reprieve on these canola tariffs without lifting this ban on Chinese EVs?
Well, they got to do it in person. It's going to be leader to leader. So when Carney's meeting with the leader or the president of China, he needs to bring this up. He needs to make it his top priority.
Are you expecting an election next week?